So I'm at a low point. It's 1979, Philadelphia, my summer after my senior year, and all my friends have graduated, but I haven't graduated because I still need to do some bullshit independent study that I'm going to do during the summer. And it's hot, it's miserable, and I'm not making any progress. And I procrastinate, so instead of working on independent study, what I like to do was sit on this bench next to a statue of Benjamin Franklin in the middle of the campus, and I'd read what I thought were these really impressive and cool books. And in my mind, I would hold the book up like that, and so people could see the cover. And I'd say, so in my mind, people would say, "Oh, look at that really cool guy reading that really cool book." And so the ultimate fantasy would be I'd be reading one of these books, and all of a sudden I'd hear this woman's voice say, "What are you reading?" And I'd look up, and it'd be this beautiful woman, and who knows where that can be. So one day I'm on the bench next to Benjamin Franklin, and I'm reading this book called Gravity's Rainbow by Thomas Pynchon, which is this 800-page, the New York Times described it as bone-crushingly dense. And all of a sudden, I hear this woman's voice say, "What are you reading?" And I look up, and it's this beautiful Japanese woman about my age. I say, "Oh, it's Gravity's Rainbow." And she says, "What's it about?" And of course, I didn't know what it was about. So I'm looking at the back cover, and I say, well, it's an immense synthesis of modern literature and modern science, and it's like, when I look at it again, it interprets beautifully both modern history and the process of historical thought. And then she says to me, "Have you ever felt lost, like you have no direction in life?" And I say, "Yeah, I guess." And then she tells me that her name is Michiko, and she used to feel lost when she was growing up in Japan in high school, and she even thought about killing herself, but then she met these people that turned her life around, and she was reborn. And at this point, let me just step back and say I may have been an idiot, but I wasn't stupid. And I knew that there was a certain religious cult trolling the campus, harvesting depressed college students, and I was being recruited. But on the other hand, she was kind of sweet, and I had nothing better to do, so we talked for a while. And then right before she left, she asked me two questions. First, she asked if I would come to her group's house for dinner, and I said no. And then she asked me for my address and phone number, and I gave it to her. And then she leaves, and I had this moment of harsh realization, because I knew these people had this built-in loser detector, and they could sense the self-loathing and the despair. They could smell that whiff of failure, and that's me. I am the low-hanging fruit. So over the next couple weeks, she's on this relentless campaign to get me to come to their house for dinner. And there's phone calls, she writes me letters, she comes up to me on the street, and it's always the same thing. "Oh, Len, you should come, it'll make me so happy, it'll make you so happy." So finally, I'm thinking about it, and on the one hand, I know what they're doing, but on the other hand, it felt kind of nice to maybe I could meet some people, or, get a home-cooked meal. And, to be honest, it felt kind of nice to have this woman pursuing me, even though I knew it was not for the right reasons. So I decided to go. So the day comes, I'm walking to their house, and with each step I'm getting more and more kind of nervous, because you got to remember this is the 70s, and cults were like serious business back then. They were no joke. I mean, you had the mass murder in Jonestown, you had Patty Hearst, the Sudanese Liberation Army, and so it wasn't a stretch to sort of associate cults with lots of dead bodies. I get there, I go in, and everybody's so happy to see me, and there's all these people like around my age, and it's like, "Oh, we're so glad you're here." And we sitting around a circle, and there's several other marks that they've gotten from campus, and they're all accompanied by their opposite sex handlers. So Michiko's sitting next to me the whole time, and we go around the circle, and we have to say our name and our favorite drink. So they get to me, and I say, "Oh, my name is Len, and my favorite drink is tea." And they're all going, "Oh, tea, that is so great. Tea is so delicious." And then someone says, "What kind of tea? Is it oolong or ginseng?" And I say, "Oh, I don't know, Lipton." "Oh, Lipton." That's great. We love Lipton. We love Lipton. And then someone brings out a guitar and they start singing songs, but they're not these weird cult songs. They're like, Michael rowed the boat ashore and If I Had a Hammer and stuff like that. And I could smell these delicious smells coming from the kitchen, from dinner. And I haven't had a home-cooked meal in such a long time. And then this guy comes out. He's like the leader of their house. He's older than everybody. He's around 40. He's kind of got these thick glasses and kind of this fake smile. And they call him the minister. And he says, well, before we have our physical nourishment, we're going to go upstairs and get some spiritual nourishment. So we all go upstairs, and we go into this room, and the room is festooned with streamers and balloons. And I turn to somebody and I say, oh, is it somebody's birthday? And they say, no, a rebirth day. So I'm sitting next to Mashiko, and this minister guy is going to give us a lecture. And she leans over to me and she says, this is going to make me so happy. So he starts this lecture, and not to be disrespectful, but it was kind of moronic. Basically, it's sort of about how their ultimate leader, who is this guy overseas, is like the Messiah or something. And he has a blackboard, and there's all these diagrams he's drawing and arrows going everywhere. And then he says, I'm going to prove to you empirically, that our leader is the Messiah. And he draws these two timelines on the blackboard. The top one goes from the beginning of the world to Jesus. And the bottom one is from Jesus to their leader. And then he draws a straight line from one to the other. You see the one-to-one correspondence. See, that proves it. And at this point, I just can't take it anymore. I say, well, wait a minute. I mean, there's a lot more time between the beginning of the world and Jesus than between Jesus and this, And, and he kept going, no, but it's a straight line. See, it's a straight line. I mean, it was kind of like it goes to 11, right? So the dinner bell goes off, and I'm thinking, great, now we can eat. And he says, okay, we're going to go down to dinner, but you, Len, I want you to stay a little bit longer because I think you need a little bit more spiritual nourishment. So he's going on with all, this lecture, and Mashiko's sitting next to me, and now she's looking a little worried. And I go, I just got to go. I say to him, I have to revisit these two timelines. So are you saying that the bottom timeline is like a logarithmic scale? And he goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You have to leave immediately. And so several of the people in the group sort of are escorting me out, sort of like they're excising a cancerous cell. And I'm thinking, no dinner for me. And I look around for Mashiko. She's gone. And one of them turns to me, the guy who's escorting me turns to me and he says, you must be a minister of Satan, but we like that because it makes us strong. And so they escort me out of the house, and out into the night I go, lonely, hungry. But the upshot was, first, I never saw Mashiko again. I stopped sitting on that bench next to the statue of Benjamin Franklin. I did finish my independent study, and I never finished Gravity's Rainbow.